So Batman and Spider-Man have arguably two of the greatest rogues galleries in all of comics. I mean, it's kind of hard to top the likes of Venom, Riddler, Green Goblin, Bane, Dr. Octopus, and Joker. But a question I've been thinking about lately, what if Batman and Spider-Man swapped villains? Could Batman take down Carnage, Electro, Rhino, and more? Could he even survive the fight? Would they? As we're going to find out. And first things first, let's a little bit of ground rules. So Bruce will be going up against 10 of the deadliest and most dangerous villains in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. But he doesn't take them all on directly all at once. He can prep and plan beforehand, rest and recover in between fights, and even come up with specific weapons to beat a specific villain. Basically just do whatever he needs to do or take these baddies down. Alright, so let's dive in. And first up we got Mysterio. Now I've already done a whole versus video on this, so go check that out if you want an in-depth analysis. I'm just going to do a brief overview here. So Mysterio is a master of illusions, and he's so good, he's able to fool nearly everyone in the Marvel Universe, and trick Spider-Man on countless occasions, even overcoming his legendary spider sense. But the thing about Batman is that just the way that his mind works, the way he sees the world is so different than Spider-Man and his spider sense. He's been able to see through Morgan Le Fay's illusions, despite being exposed to hallucinogenic gas, and even his technology and the cow's computer being tricked. He was still able to deduce that he was hallucinating. He deduced that the world that they were in was fake before either Wonder Woman and Superman did, and Superman has extremely heightened senses. He was able to quickly figure out he was in a dream world, and he's instantly figured out on multiple occasions that he's encountered holograms. Batman has even realized he's encountered subconscious manifestations before, which is just insanely impressive. And then Batman even has gear and tech in order to help him battle against Mysterio's illusions. For starters, the cowl has built-in psychic dampeners and defenses. So again, Mysterio's hypnotism isn't going to work. But from there, Batman has infrared vision, ultraviolet vision, X-ray vision. He can actually see in all spectrums of light. And he can even see through echolocation using sonic cannon mounted onto his chest. With all this, Batman could possibly just see through the illusions by scanning through different fields of vision. I mean, he's used them to identify and fight against invisible opponents. He could quite possibly identify Mysterio's holograms too. On top of that, once Batman identifies he's in a well-produced hallucination, like when he went up against Count Vertigo, was able to use his cowl to block out his eyes and ears, fighting just solely using his echolocation. Batman has more than proven he's able to see through illusions. Once he finds out he's in one, well, he's gonna crack Mysterio's fishbowl just like Spider-Man. This one might be a little bit easier for Bats, because while Kraven is definitely a better fighter and a bigger physical threat than Mysterio, Batman won't have to fight his way through illusions, and Kraven is just like people that he goes up against on a nightly basis. Now don't get me wrong, Kraven will put up an incredible fight. I mean, he's beaten Daredevil, Captain America, even Spider-Man. He'll have Batman on the ropes too. Might even claim the victory a few times. But at the end of the day, Batman's the better fighter. He's got the better gear. And considering that we're allowing Batman to prepare for any fight that he feels he needs to prepare for, well, that just puts it over the edge. I think Batman can take Kraven down. Batman and Spider-Man share several villains who are basically copycats of the other. So Bruce definitely has some inside knowledge when going up against Lizard, considering how many times he's taken down Killer Croc. And yeah, Lizard might be more powerful than Croc on any random day of the week, but I don't think he's so powerful to say that Batman's same tactics won't work on him here. Batman has explosives, sonics, tranquilizers, and gas attacks, and all sorts of batarangs. I'm positive the Dark Knight would have a real bad night if he ran across the Lizard, but he's been through much worse and come out on top before. Easily the hardest villain that Batman has had to go up against yet. Rhino is without a doubt the strongest member of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, considering that he's gone up against the Hulk and the Thing, and there are times where Peter can't even budge him with all of his strength. In fact, Spider-Man has said he's legitimately afraid of Rhino before, that the villain makes his heart skip a beat, and the only way he's been able to beat the big guy before was either because he prepared beforehand or was just pure blind luck. Now, in a random encounter, Batman will be able to put up a better fight than you'd first imagine. He's a whole lot faster, much more agile than the big guy. His explosives that send damage, and even Superman flying backwards, knockout gas capable of taking down monsters who are fighting Wonder Woman, and plenty more. Plenty more. But like we said at the beginning of the video, Batman can prepare for fights if he feels he needs to. And Bruce definitely isn't one to underestimate an opponent, especially an opponent like Rhino. For starters, Batman can just build a suit of armor to even the odds against Rhino a little bit. And considering he's built a suit to even the odds against Darkseid, yeah, I'm saying you do the same thing here. Really, that's all Bats has to do. Just throw on a mechanized suit of armor, and Batman is coming out on top. It won't necessarily be easy. Iron Man and Spider-Man in a mechanized suit have both struggled against Rhino, but I think Batman can pull it off. Now, this one will definitely require prep in order to come out on top. And the first thing that Bruce needs to do is up the insulation in his suit. Batman is already somewhat resistant to electricity because of his armor, but he's definitely going to need to increase his resistance if he hopes on taking Electro down. But even then, insulation can only get you so far, and insulation can be overloaded. And Electro can definitely do that. I mean, on a good day, the guy is capable of bringing down a building with his electricity. That's a lot more than almost any suit can handle. But that being said, Electro is a moron, and there have been only a small handful of times when writers decided to make him even remotely competent. The vast majority of the time, he loses to people that he definitely shouldn't. I'm talking losing to the likes of Daredevil and Punisher. And Electro is just electricity. Batman's come up with ways to stop a whole lot harder villains with a whole lot more complicated powers. Batman can take him down. Honestly, Batman might have an even easier time at defeating Doc Ock than even Spider-Man. Obviously, Bruce was to dodge those tentacles, and that'll be super tough, considering he's consistently tagged Spider-Man. But once he gets the chance, we'll just throw out some knockout gas, and boom, you've won. Dr. Octopus really has no counter for that. And if Batman wants to prepare for the fight beforehand, well, Bruce can always just come up with a device that knocks out Ock's tentacles, puts him out of commission that way, come up with a device that actually disconnects Otto's connection to the tentacles, something that Iron Man has done before. So yeah, Batman can take the Doctor down. And here we got the second pair of copycat villains between Batman and Spider-Man, Sandman. And just like Lizard, Bruce will have some inside knowledge on how to come out on top here thanks to his constant encounters with Clayface. He's got knockout gas strong to work on Clayface, a taser gun that can knock out Clayface, cryogenics allowed to freeze Clayface, and a heat battering capable of drying Clayface into powder. And just like it all worked against Clayface, all it will to work against Sandman. There's even easier ways to take Sandman down, like with water. This might actually be one of the easiest victories that Batman has in this whole gauntlet. And we go straight from one of the easiest to one of the hardest. Venom. Someone that Batman is definitely going to need to prep in order to beat, because he's literally dead otherwise. Lucky for Bruce, as he prepares against Venom, there are some pretty obvious weaknesses that he can exploit. Heat and sonics. Now, Venom and other symbiotes have been building up an immunity, or at least a tolerance to these attacks as time has gone on, but they're still the first line of defense. I mean, Superior Spider-Man just effortlessly beat Agent Venom with, you guessed it, fire and sonics. Batman is always carrying sonic batarangs on him that are already powerful enough to give Venom trouble. Hypersonics that are capable of hurting Superman. His batarangs have a fire mode. He carries around incendiary grenades, mini flamethrower, fire bombs, saline capsules that ignite in contact with the air, and even fire brass knuckles. And that's just all the stuff that Batman carries on him on a regular basis. Or at least a semi-regular basis. And like we said earlier, Bruce doesn't underestimate opponents, and he doesn't take chances. Batman's going to be bringing out those hypersonics that injured Superman, and fire hotter than magma, and who knows what else. Like we said, just a random fight, Bruce might actually wind up dead. But give him a little bit of insight on Venom's weaknesses and trying to prepare beforehand, Batman's actually coming out on top here more often than not. Venom just has too many exploitable weaknesses. Now, out of all these fights, this is the first one I've actually seen play out on the actual page. That's right, Batman vs. Carnage has actually happened in the comics. And Batman actually won. Of course, it's about as believable as Batman taking down the Hulk. Carnage is more powerful than Spider-Man, more powerful than Venom. He's so powerful that Spider-Man and Venom actually team up in order to defeat him. Yet Batman comes in and beats him by punching him in the face and telling Cassidy that he's afraid of death. And yeah, that's stupid, and no way can Batman beat Carnage that way. But I actually don't have a problem with the idea of Batman beating Carnage on the whole. I mean, Carnage is essentially just a more powerful version of Venom. So they have the same weaknesses, fire and sonics. And so Batman can pull out the same old tricks that used to beat Venom. Hypersonics on Superman's level, and tons of fire and explosives. Carnage will be more resistant to them just because he's more powerful, but I don't think he's so powerful enough to survive the kinds of weapons Batman can bring to the fight, especially if Bruce has time to prepare beforehand. And last but not least, we got Spider-Man's most notorious villain, his own Joker, Green Goblin. And Green Goblin is definitely going to be one of the tougher villains that Batman goes up against here. Because for starters, he doesn't really have any exploitable weaknesses. And secondly, Goblin is in some ways an evil version of Batman. What with all his pumpkin bombs, goblin blasters, or razor bats, and whatnot. On top of that, Green Goblin is strong enough to hang with Spider-Man, durable enough to take attacks from Spider-Man, even as a healing factor, allowed him to survive having his heart pierced through with his goblin glider, and he's fast enough to at least hang with Peter. But, and this has seemed like a running theme here, but Batman has prep time. He can easily use one of his mini mech suits to make up for that physical gap between the two. Then he just goes into his usual game plan, use skills and strategy to win. Because if Bruce is able to close that physical gap, well, that's really all it'll take to come out on top. Batman is more skilled and the better fighter, he's got better gear and weapons, and has a long history of fighting against psychopathic killers. The only clear advantage that Goblin has over Batman is physicality. And if Batman can take that away, well, in some ways it's Batman's fight to lose. So can Batman beat Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery? Well, yeah, I think he can. Now, obviously, he won't win every time. When you're going up against the likes of Carnage, Rhino, and Green Goblin, you just gotta accept that there are some times where you'll lose the fight. In fact, I think Batman will actually have a really hard time running through this gauntlet. Because Spidey's rogues are ridiculously strong and fast, considering that pretty much all of them are able to evenly fight against Peter. I'm not saying that Bruce is necessarily weak or slow, but he's not overpowering Rhino, or taking down Venom just hand to hand. But Batman isn't stupid, and if he can't overpower most of them, well, then rely on his sophisticated gadgets, skills, and intelligence. Through using stuff like exploding foam or cryogenic bombs, donning some heavier armors, and prepping more often, well, I feel like Bruce can make up for his pretty severe physical disadvantage and take down Spider-Man's villains. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below. Also be sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, turn notification with the Fanco Army, and I will see you next time.